A very warm welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 9th November. It's Friday today. And before we jump on to editorial analysis, article analysis, I would like to inform all of you that now you have got just 2 days to get this flat 60% discount that is available on our pen drive and Android courses. To find out more about it, do check out studyiq.com. We are approaching towards the end of big Diwali sale. With this difference, today is Friday, so we have 2 articles that you can completely ignore. The first one is this one, right? You can completely reject this article, not important for your examination, and same thing with this one as well. These 2 articles are not important for your examinations. And if you want, you can have a quick glance over it. I have gone through it. It's a pure political article. When I say political, I mean to say it's not with Indian constitution or polity or governance. It's talking about various different political parties and where do they stand and how their performance will decide or will work as a sort of a decisive factor for 2019 general election. So as I told you, if you have extra time, go for it, or else feel free, you can reject them. Because the most important thing, right, a choice that you have to, a decision that you have to take every day is, first of all, you have to segment items that are most important, items that are okayish or they require one glance, all right, and articles or items that you have to completely ignore. It's very important decision, a choice that we have to make every day because we have limited energy, isn't it, throughout a day, and we have to cover. It's like a marathon. Preparing for competitive exam, it's more like a marathon. You have to maintain that speed. You have to have that stamina or endurance. It's not like a sprint where you give everything that you have in a very short period of time, in 20 seconds or something. Or max 14-15 seconds, you give everything that you have, but here you have to stay on for hours and hours, isn't it? So we are talking about 1 year, 6 months or 8 months, whatever your plan is, wherever you stand at present or your position is at present. You have to make choices and you have to be very to the point, focused and specific about what you are going to read and what is important. And of course, I'm here to help you out with that thing. Now, a sacrifice remembered. This one is a very interesting. When I say interesting, I mean to say that it's good. Many a times I feel that it's good that I discuss some items, with you guys in a more sort of in-depth fashion. I provide you pictures and we discuss about so many other things that are like some background theories or some things that are, associated with it. And luckily, what happens is after a couple of days as well, we find same topic, right, in a form of an article or comment, and then it becomes very easy for us. So this one, I'm going to leave it on you guys. You have to have at least one glance, right? Just read this article for one time. That would be more than enough because it's talking about role of Indians. So I'm not talking about as a country India, because this one is about World War I and World War II, particularly World War I, because we are going to celebrate, the world is going to celebrate 100 years of this World War I, and we cannot ignore this fact, or we cannot ignore the contribution of Indians as far as this World War I is concerned. You know that 10 lakh or 1 million Indians took part in this World War I. They have gone through all those hardships and so many other things, and they have they have won gallantry awards for valor, or this Victorian Cross. 11 of our soldiers got Victorian Cross, and they played a very important role. And now various different European countries, they are appreciating this role of Indians in World War I, in World War II, in peacekeeping. And this is something that is working as it's a bond that we share with France, we share with Russia, we share with UK, and based on this bond, we can take our contemporary relationship to a new level. So, just have a quick glance over this article written by a MP from UK. And then you have these 3 articles. So first one is about this one, independence and accountability. Now again, I am sorry, but I have to repeat this thing. This is something that we have already discussed, isn't it? We know that There is a sort of a small, tiny little conflict or battle going on between Reserve Bank of India and Government of India. Last time when we were discussing this topic, I told you one important line, that this is something that is quite common when it comes to when you see federal bank or central bank or RBI of any country, and you find the main government, the government of India or government of USA or government of UK, etc. You find always there is a little bit of bitterness. There is a little bit of sort of a little bit of nudging, or you can say a gentle elbowing each other, because you have various different stakeholders, right? When we talk about our country, say for example, right, then we have various different stakeholders. We have pensioners, right? Those people who are dependent on pensions, those people who have deposited their money in the bank. Then you have businesses seeking loans or borrowers. Then you have government, right? You have RBI. So we have various different stakeholders. We can go on and on. We can add some more examples here, but I think it's going to be all right. So depositors and pensioners, they would be seeking more money, more interest, right? A pensioner would, of course, you can cheer him up if you say that if this month if you are getting 10,000, next month you will get 12,000 because government has increased this interest rate. A depositor again will be more than happy if he or she realizes, or if he or she is informed that of the 1 lakh rupee that he or she has deposited in the bank earlier on, she used to get 6,000 rupees as annual interest, but now she will get 8,000 rupee as annual interest. So 2,000 extra will of course cheer her up as well. So you have various two parties here, right? They would be demanding higher interest rate because it will be something in their favor, right? It will be supporting their lifestyle. We have on the other side, right, borrowers, those businesses, those people who are seeking a loan, who require a loan for their business or for buying something, etc., car buyer or house buyer. So this parties or this stakeholder will be looking for cheaper loans rather than expensive, because if interest rate is low, they would pay, they don't have to pay that much amount of interest, so more profit and bit easier. So here we see, right, that government will of course, any government would like to see this situation where easy loans are available, where inflation is under control, where interest rate is low, where pensioners are more than happy. So government would be in this utopian romantic picture where everything is all right. But that's not something that is more, you can say, feasible or viable all the time. And this is one of the reason why RBI and governor, because they have to keep everyone, or they have to make sure that everyone feels that they have got a sort of equal portion of a cake. So it becomes a bit tricky here, a bit difficult here. So it's quite common when we find this sort of situation. It's quite common in not only in our economy but in other economies as well. Now RBI is saying or talking about or is concerned about its independence, and this whole matter started when Deputy Governor of RBI Viral Acharya, in a press conference, he said that government should not interfere with RBI's day-to-day operation or RBI's decision making. Now government is explaining, or government is trying to put its version, and I'm not saying that RBI is right and I'm not saying that government is wrong. Both of them are right in their own domain, but there are a few things that we have to understand here. Now government is of course concerned about economy. At present the things are not as it should be, right? Things are a bit we find a little bit of friction, or I would say headwinds are there. So government would like to see, and elections are just around the corner, so government would like to see cheaper interest, or you can say cheap loans, inflation under control, people getting jobs and all these things, because a few months to go for election now. So this is something that we cannot we cannot ignore, and this is something that is again a very basic part and parcel of government. Now, the main thing here is that when this concept of independence was when this whole thing, when this seed started germinating, seed of independence, or this thought of RBI having autonomy at that point of time as well, and now as well, the most important thing that we have to understand is functional autonomy is the most important thing, because see, government is choosing a person for RBI's governor's post. When it comes to deputy governor's post, again, government plays a very important role. When it comes to other officials, government plays a very important role. Now, when we talk about this MPC, that is Monetary Policy Commission, we have RBI governor, RBI deputy governor, we have one official from RBI, and then you have 3 members who are appointed by governor. So by government, sorry. So we have, government's hand is already there. I'm not saying that it's a very heavy hand. A little bit of, I would say, gentle hand is there, right? Government plays a very important role. In direct and indirect, mostly indirect functioning of RBI. So I think this much is more than enough now. Once you are appointing a person as a governor, deputy, and other people as officials of your federal bank, now government should stay away from at least functional autonomy. This is something that should be on which this RBI should have a free hand. Like, say, for example, when it comes to monetary policy, right, macroeconomic, whether inflation is going up or down, and this is one of the main job of RBI now. I'm going to talk about this thing as well in detail, but let me quickly tell you, when it comes to this instruments means monetary policy, increasing the flow of money or decreasing the flow of money, all these things should be left with RBI. At present, RBI is doing it, but when RBI is not reducing interest rate, that government will come out with some sort of statements, and it will try to create pressures and things like that. So this is something that the government should, learn something from this situation, that we have already sorted out this thing. It took some 20 years. Discussions were going on whether RBI should look after just inflation, or it should look after just employment, or both. And finally, we took this decision that there will be an MPC, that is Monetary Policy Committee, where you have 3 members from RBI and 3 members from government, and together they will decide whether interest rate should go up or down. And the same committee that recommended, not MPC, but there was this committee called Urjit Patel Committee, and this committee recommended that rather than RBI governor just deciding what to do, right, there should be one MPC. So here as well, government is directly, indirectly involved. So now when it comes to functional autonomy, at least RBI should have this breathing room. Now, as far as this inflation targeting is concerned, our country, and there are other major central banks of the world, they shifted from this job, employment, unemployment thing, growth, inflation, all these things earlier on were looked after by central government. But now just inflation targeting is something that is looked after by our RBI. That's its one of the main core duty. But USA has not revised the goals, right? USA's Federal Reserve looks after all these various items apart from inflation. Now, the main problem, we talked about 3 issues. Remember, autonomy was there, then government was talking about Section 7, and the third thing is about this surplus, this sharing this surplus. So one thing is there, that RBI is not just a sort of central bank, it is also a regulator, and it has to many a times inject some money in the market. So government should realize this thing, that RBI, if government is sucking away or taking away all this surplus of RBI, then it will become a bit difficult for RBI to control this flow of money. So, and one more thing, that if you are running out of money, then this easy money that you can get from RBI, that's not, or the surplus that the government is taking away, that's not a proper solution for fiscal deficit. If you are facing some financial crisis, or if you are not having that much money, then if you take it from someone else's pocket, then that's not going to solve your problem. You have to find some source of income, isn't it? In the same way, of course, we can understand that elections are just around the corner, so government at present is spending more But still, it's not taking away money from RBI. It's not a solution. So again, both of them can come on table and they can decide this sharing formula. But this sort of struggle or a little bit of conflict is not healthy. It's not sending good vibes in the economy. So that's everything about it. I'm sure many things we have talked about it earlier on as well. So it's not going to be that difficult for you guys to understand this independence and accountability. Now we are going to talk about this political economics. It's again something that is associated with money and finance, but don't worry, it's not that difficult to understand, because last time when we were discussing news items, we talked about this thing, MSMEs. Now they will get 1 crore or loans up to 1 crore rupee will be sanctioned in less than 1 hour, in 59 minutes. This was announced by Prime Minister Modi just recently, a couple of days ago. We were talking about this thing. Now the thing is, it's fine. It's a good thing, because contribution of MSME, the role played by micro, small and medium enterprises in our economy is outstanding. We have talked about this thing, that there are 11 crore people working in MSME, particularly when it comes to secondary sector of economy. MSMEs play a very, very important role. And here I have one more figure for you guys, and I want you guys to remember this thing, that MSMEs account for 30% of India's GDP, that is gross domestic product. 30%. This is not a small chunk. This is not a small amount, right? It's a big lion's share that we are talking about here. So you can understand the importance of MSME, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. Government is also going to provide interest subvention of 2%, and there are other perks as well. If you are registered with GST, then you will get some more extra discount and things like that. So all these things are I'm not saying are bad. They are indeed important for MSMEs, because the biggest problem that MSMEs, particularly micro and small enterprises, their biggest challenge is to get formal loans, right? Institutional loans. That's their biggest challenge, and sanctioning of this green signal for a loan takes a lot of time in our country. You have to frequently visit bank, and it will disturb your business. And if I'm not wrong, at least a month, if you are looking for a big loan, so at least a month it will take away from your ear. So now if once you deposit all your documents and everything, and if you can get a loan in less than 1 hour, then that's going to be amazing, right? Because already MSME faced this twin shock or twin blows from this demonetization and GST. Now the most important thing that we have to understand here is that this flow of money that government is trying to inject in the market, it's good, right? It's not that bad, but we have to understand this thing, that this is going to be a temporary boom, or it can the best it can do is it can give you a temporary kick, right? It's not a proper long-term solution. The other thing that we have to be careful about is credit standards and deterioration of credit standards. This new concept of this MSME loans in 59 minutes, it's not radically different from mudra loans, right? It's just a little bit of changes here and there. It's I would say it's a mudra loan in a new package, but the most important thing, as per Urjit Patel, who is again RBI governor, he has informed us, he has warned us that we have to be a bit careful. If giving loan to MSMEs is not bad, but giving them too easily without any proper security and other checkups, right? We can have this culture of this bad culture of bad debts or not returning the money. Something that a bad habit has been created by politicians to these farmers, that because of this loan waivers, farm loan waivers. Now there are many farmers out there, they know that they can take this loan at present from a bank, and there is no point of giving it back, because after during this election time, we'll find this thing, we'll put it as a demand, and then we'll get a loan waiver from the government. So it's not at all healthy. It's not a healthy credit culture, and this is something that we have to be careful about, or else we may face a financial crisis in our country. Now, what next after Me Too? This is the last and the third article that we are going to talk about. Now, Me Too is, I strongly believe that it's not something that you are totally unaware of, right? And again, it's not something that we have not discussed earlier on. So, the most important thing that I find in this article is the job, or you can say the role played by Me Too. What Me Too did in our country is, earlier on, this balance was tilted in favor of men. Many men, I'm not saying all, of course not all, right? Not at all. There are a few out there who are destroying the name of manhood, but anyways, there are a few guys out there. They used to harass, and they are in fact harassing girls or women, or their co-worker, and they know this thing that in society we have this culture that everyone will start pointing finger towards that victim, right? That why you need to do your job, why you need a job, you're doing well, your father is earning, so why you need to why you need a job, what about independence, stop, this whole things are ideas, and after marriage you cannot do this and that, and there are so many various different things. I'm sure we are not alien to all these things. These things are there in our society. So because of this, this victim was always asked questions, and everyone was pointing their fingers towards this victim. We created a culture, right, consciously and unconsciously in our society, that if you go through this sort of thing, then just keep your mouth shut, nothing is going to happen. And this pessimism gave more, you can say, a sort of, it worked like a boost, or it worked like a sort of immune, or your impunity, for this men lot who are this type of criminals. They realize that nothing is going to happen. If they do something wrong, it's fine. And many of them, the sad thing is that they think that they are doing nothing wrong at all by harassing someone, or sexually harassing someone, to be more specific. So this thing was going on now because few ladies out there, they mustered their courage, and now they're out there in public, and they are expressing themselves, and this is how it should be. So now it has at least created a sense of fear in the minds and hearts of all those criminals out there. At the same time, there are a few questions that we need to, it raises some questions, and these are the questions that I think we need to ask ourselves first. Then we can discuss these questions with our friends, our family members, in our professional life and other places. And the reason why discussions, first of all, let's talk about the questions, right? Now, we have two situations. Generally speaking, we can divide our day into two various different situations. One is our social setup, and the other one is our professional setup. So what are the things, right, that are allowed in our social lives, right? What is limit? What is crossing limits and things like that? And same thing applies in professional lives as well. Now, we don't want to see a situation where few ladies out there, they are misusing this law against, or this law on this rape and other things, or sexual harassment. And we don't want to see this thing as well, where those criminals who are engaged in this sort of activities, they go scot-free. So this balance can be achieved. That's what I think. We can achieve this balance. Government alone cannot do anything. We as a society, as a stakeholder, we have to discuss these things. We have to debate on it. And we have to, if the more discussion, the more ideas we share with each other, basically brainstorming. The more brainstorming is done on this thing, and then your final refined ideas is supplied to government, and then we can have a proper rules and regulations on this thing, and then we can, it will be a first step, I think. Still, we have to take this first step. So this is one of the most important role of Me Too. At least it created this space, or it worked like a nudge for all of us to go down deep within us and ask, to ask questions about why we find this sort of situation in our society, what are solutions and things like that. Now moving on to important latest news items. 5 killed in Chhattisgarh blast on eve of Prime Minister's election rally. Former US Marine shoots 12 dead in California bar. This is something that we find every year, more than once we find this thing in USA because of this. Many times people are not well in terms of their mental issues are going on with their life, and various different people, and easily guns are available in USA, so that's a bit of problem. Now, no talks on Rohingya at Myanmar meeting. A meeting took place between India and Myanmar, and the most important item, I think, in today's news item is this one: India to join Afghanistan peace talks today. Now, this is not an ordinary peace talk. This is going to take place in Russia. It is called Moscow format. High-level delegation from Taliban. Yes, Taliban. High-level delegation from Taliban is going to visit this, or is going to take part in this Moscow format. And Afghanistan's officials will take part, and India will send non-officials. So India is, for the very first time, is going to take part in a discussion where you will find a party is representing terrorist organization. So it's not a negative thing, it's a positive thing. But this is a very unique, or this is, if I'm not wrong, this is the first time we are engaging in this sort of format. So we are going to find editorials and articles on this item. I'm sure we are going to find it. If not tomorrow, then maybe later on. North Korea has cancelled talks with Pompeo, and GST refund of 82,775 crore cleared. So it's going to bring big cheer in the face of this exporters particularly. And then you have some vocabularies, right? 5 words for you, 5 new words for you guys. And this is your map research. I'm sure it's going to be easy for you to find which country we are talking about. But can you give me the name of this place here? Why it was in news in recent past, and also add some other items associated with this place that you can see on your screen. Let me clear it for you. I'm talking about this particular point here, right? This point here. So that's everything, and this today is Legal Services Day 2018. So some important points for you guys. Once you download this PDF, please help yourself with it. That's everything. Do share this lecture with other students, and don't forget to pass your answers in the comment section. God bless you all. Enjoy your festival season. It's still going on, and this is one of the reasons why timing of this lecture has been shifted a little bit towards afternoon time, because late nights and guests and celebrations, or professional and personal life balance I have to maintain, But at least I have decided that I'm going to continue this discussion rather than taking an off. So that's it, right? I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you all. Jai Hind.